Printing an embroidery PDF pattern onto your fabric from home is actually super simple. There's just a few key supplies and materials that you need. One is obviously a printer. I would recommend doing this only if you have a printer that you don't care too much about. If you have like a super expensive high-tech one, maybe proceed with caution. I'm just using a cheap printer from Walmart that I have at home. And then we're also going to need some sticky paper of some sort. Now here I'm just using what I found at Staples in my local hometown. It's called sticker project paper. This was honestly not what I was looking for, but it did get the job done. Rather, I was hoping to find some like 8.5 by 11 shipping labels that are like one giant sheet of sticker. I think you can find them on Amazon. So next time I do this, I would probably go for that instead of this one. To get started with this project, I'm simply just gonna lay out the fabric that I'm using. Now I always pretty much stitch on a cotton linen blend fabric. I will say it's a tiny bit heavier than 100% cotton, but it did still stick to my paper, which was good. So what I'm gonna do is just line it up so that I'm looking at a 90-degree angle here. And you will notice my fabric is a little bit wrinkly. At this point you could totally iron it if you wanted to, but for me it doesn't really bother me, as I feel like whenever I stretch my fabric across my hoop it gets rid of all the wrinkles anyways. So for me, I'm gonna skip that step as it feels a little bit unnecessary. But to apply my sticky paper, I'm simply just going to peel it off and then stick it on my fabric and do my best to line it up to that 90-degree angle, and then apply some pressure to help make it stick and kind of slide it out to ensure my wrinkles don't get caught or that there are no bumps in it. At this point, all that's left to do is cut out the border of the 8.5 by 11 sticky sheet so that we're left with a clean piece of paper that can be gently placed into our printer. Now before putting it in the printer, I do just like to do one last final press to make sure everything is nice and smooth and ensure that my fabric does stick really well to the paper before putting it into my printer. And then also, if there's any little frayed snags on the end, I would just cut those off with a pair of scissors, and then you are good to go. I'm going to remove the paper from my printer and then gently place my fabric sticky paper into my printer. Make sure it's lined up well, and then all I have to do is hit print and watch the magic happen. It is so nice to be able to print on fabric, as you are basically ready to start stitching right away. All that's left to do is to load this into an embroidery hoop. I do still add 100% cotton to back my fabric with, so I'm stitching through 2 different layers. But once that's done, I am simply off to the races and ready to start stitching with a very nice transferred pattern onto my fabric. Now, I will say the one downside of printing on your fabric is that this ink is permanent. So basically that just means that you have to cover all of your lines with your DMC embroidery floss and make sure that no lines are exposed. But that's totally personal preference as to if that bothers you or not. But here's what we are left with: a super easy way to get started and transfer your pattern onto your fabric. I hope you enjoyed, and if you're interested in learning how to design your own hand embroidery PDF patterns that you can print onto your own fabric, feel free to check out this tutorial where I teach you step by step how to use an iPad and the Procreate app to design your own patterns. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!